Hi everyone, this is a review request by RPMGirl25. Thank you for requesting this video. So, I will start with the cheapest one. Let's go with the e.l.f. Mineral Eyeshadow Primer. Now, where's the box? This one. I just love keeping boxes for when I do reviews. I don't know, that's just me. But this one, I had to keep it because it doesn't have the actual volume on it. I do like to mention volumes, or at least the basics on here. Of course you can make your own mind up what you want to sort of try, but all three of them, this one, the Urban Decay ones, and the Bare Escentuals one, which I have mentioned before, I do love all of them. They do work as eyeshadow primers, otherwise I wouldn't be sort of mentioning them as I do. I still do use bases like a MAC paint pots, fine as well, and NYX eyeshadow jumbo pencils, but I do find that wearing eyelid primers, particularly on long days, really helps my eyeshadows stay on without creasing. But the e.l.f. Mineral Eyeshadow Primer one, now this one does seem to be promote itself for using or setting mineral eyeshadows. I've actually used this on mineral ones as well as just standard pressed ones and all different types of brands, and it's worked just fine for me. And this one's actually 4.5 mils or 4.5 grams. You get a doe foot applicator, and basically it is a nice sort of nudie, sort of creamy finish. It's almost a peachy undertone, but like most eyelid primers, they come out like a skin tone colour, do actually dry sheer, so it actually dries clear, at least on my sort of skin type. So that's fine. It gives a nice velvety finish to apply your eyeshadows on. Now the most I've ever sort of noticed that it has not creased my eyeshadows probably about 16 hours. I've tried to wear these on days where I've actually been out a long time, whether I've gone out after work. The Urban Decay one and the Bare Escentuals ones I've actually done 20-hour days. This is working back when I did that. Thank goodness I don't do that anymore. But they work just fine. But this does seem to crease around the 16-hour mark, probably around the 14-hour mark if it's a slightly hot day, or at least where it's got a lot of air conditioning, where it's actually quite dry, not just drying, but sort of where it actually starts to make you sort of perspire because it's just so sticky hot. With the hot heating that some people like to have. I'm not sure why, but I haven't used this one in summer though. I have used the other two and they've been fine in the Australian humid weather. I've yet to try this one. But in comparison to the consistency, this is a lot more, I suppose, runnier in texture. It actually almost feels oily in comparison to the Urban Decay or the Bare Escentuals one. It is a lot thinner in comparison. This is more, if you had to compare a body lotion and a body cream with these ones. These are a little bit thicker in consistency, but again they shear out. You apply them to the eyelid. You can either use the applicators or of course nice clean fingers to rub them in. Dries clear, nice velvety finish. I just find this is a little bit runnier, so be prepared for that if you're used to something like the Urban Decay Potion Primer. Now, and they all contain mica, if that's something that you'd want to know, but the Urban Decay Potion Primer one, I've got the original one, and I've been using, this is probably my third one. I've been using this product for about a year and a half, probably a little bit more than that. I got my first one, my husband actually got me from eBay because we can't get Urban Decay in stores in Australia. Same with e.l.f, can't get that in Australia as well. I got both of these now, the new ones I've been trying from crushcosmetics.com.au. I'll link the site below. And I've recently just picked up the Sin Colour from Urban Decay as well. So now I've got two. But this is one I've been tried and true, tested. This one, again, both of them have a doe foot applicator. This is slightly longer and it has got the kink on the end. I suppose it's good if you want to sort of get it in between the crease and the eyelid, but it doesn't really make much difference if you're rubbing it in with your finger and letting it to set. This, as I did mention, is a little bit thicker in consistency. It is slightly paler as well, and does feel a little bit more velvety because it doesn't have that slightly oily or slick sort of finish to it. So that's the Urban Decay one. And this one, which is the Sin one, I'm sure a lot of people internationally know it, but for those of you that haven't tried this one, this is a very nice champagne colour. It actually looks like a goldy coppery, almost a pink undertone or flush to it. That's sort of it on the brush. got to be careful to try and store this one upright because it does seem to run down and stick all over the lid and the brush. So you try and store these ones up right. Doesn't seem to happen with the e.l.f. one at all. I've had it all over the place. Doesn't seem to run into the lid as much as the Urban Decay ones. I do admit though that there are lots of videos on YouTube to how to depot this. I mean, I watched my first one, I think by Encore Makeup or Corin, did a great one showing how to cut it in half and depot it so you get a lot more product. This is 10 mils though, but of course you probably don't get that all if you don't depot it because it is really hard with the odd sort of shape to get it all out. I personally love the shape to them. They actually remind me of the magic sand you could get in Aladdin type genie bottles when I was a child. I don't know, I think the magic sand stuff is still around. Anyway, back to the subject at hand. This is a beautiful champagne colour. It might actually replace something like, for those of you that like to have a primer and then use something like a Stila smudge pot, like the kitten colour. I like using that to do an all over sort of shimmery sort of glow. This gives us a fairly similar sort of finish. It is a lot more sort of, as though obviously creamier. It's a little more coppery, pinky based than the kitten sort of colour, but it gives the same sort of effect. So it's good if you want sort of a little bit of pop of shimmer or frost to your eyelid as well as the primer. So it's a 2-in-1 sort of thing as well. So it is quite nice. And I'll put some swatches at the end because I know it won't show up on my camera. I don't know if you can see that, but it's a beautiful, beautiful shimmery colour. I'll try and take a photo of it on my eyelid as well. Hopefully that will come out. But again, Australian dollars, this is about $12 or so from Crush Cosmetics for 4.5 mils or grams, and this is 10 mils for about $31-32 odd dollars. So it sort of just depends how much you want to spend, but sort of bear in mind this is more promoted for mineral eyeshadows, but I have used it fine for all types. It's a little bit runnier or slightly oily in feel, not saying it has oils in it, but it does feel relatively oily in comparison to something that's a little bit more, I suppose, creamy and sort of thicker. But they both dry, sheer, and leave a nice velvety, silky finish to the skin. Now the third one, I've actually done a review on the PrimeTime range, the face primer and the eyelid primer. I'll link that below. This is BareVitamins, part of ID Bare Minerals range, or Bare Essentials. This one does have the least amount of product out of all of them. It's only 1.5 mils, only 1.5. And fortunately or unfortunately, depending on if you like the twist applicators, it's a twist applicator. It's got a very hard sponge tip as well. Now the reason I say fortunately or unfortunately, it just depends. Some people love twisty tops. I do find with something like this where you only get such a small amount of product, 1.5 mil of product, I mean it might be easy to apply to the eyelid, but more often than not with twisty applicators you end up getting a lot more product than you intend. And this is actually my third one. Definitely is my third, no, it's my fourth one. I've been using them for quite a while. I love this one. I love them. But more often than not, I will get more product than I intend to, which is quite frustrating considering the price. Wait for it. I've mentioned it before in my review below. It was 45 Australian dollars. A lot of people will balk at the price for only 1.5 mils. I got this as a sample originally from Myer, so that for heads up for those of you in Myer stores, it's only in selected ones. Hopefully it's in one near you that you can actually get a sample if the ladies kind enough to, or guys kind enough to give you a sample. Definitely try it out because again it is a lot of money to fork out just for the hell of it. Excuse me, but it is a lot of money for such a small amount. But it is an oil-free product, full of vitamins, A and K I think it is. I've got the box. I can't remember, but yes, an oil-free, fragrance-free one as well, sort of product. I do love their range of stuff, but I do find them pretty pricey in Australia. I had a comment before that there was about 16 US dollars. I wish we could only pay that, which would be about 20 odd Australian dollars. So we do pay well more than double for this product in our country. But I definitely do recommend it. Gave the most amount of staying power. I used to use it on days where I was literally out of the house for 20 hours and it stayed on without creasing. On days that it was really, really humid, I'm talking 37-degree days in Australia, I did get a little bit of crease in the corner there, which is completely understandable. After about 16 hours, I did have that. But this gave the most amount of staying power. And I found it just feels the nicest on my eyelids as well. I know that probably sounds a little bit strange, but it does. But it is unfortunate. It is so expensive. So really the e.l.f. one's probably more within my everyday sort of range where I can use it every day and use it up and buy another one, definitely. But I am definitely loving the new Sin one for a 2-in-1, and definitely still recommend the Urban Decay Potion Primer. It does live up to, at least in my case, for my oily lids. They're not dry lids, so these are only really for combination or oily lids. Works well for me. So guys, I hope you enjoyed that and leave some feedback. Thank you.